everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Root Branch Marketplace. I am Dr. Vanya Pattergrove, CEO of Root Branch Media Group, the media mogul, and the show's creator. Listen, I know I say this every episode, but we really have a great episode lined up for you all today. This episode we have dedicated to our young people. We are talking youth entrepreneurship. If you know anything about Root Branch, you know that Root Branch and young people are synonymous. We are known for our work in the community and working with young people, mostly through our media arts enrichment program and our education programs throughout the schools. But because we love entrepreneurship and we love supporting small businesses, we thought how fitting would it be to make April all about our young people. So we've curated a lineup of small businesses that are right here in our beautiful city of Baltimore, that are youth-led, that are supported by organizations that help teach young people youth entrepreneurship and help them in their small business startup. You already know what to do. Don't go anywhere. Stay put. Get yourself a good cup of Root Branch Press coffee and snuggle up and tune in for this episode.
Hello, my name is Kenzie and welcome back to the Root Branch Marketplace. Today we're here with Joni of Heart Smiles. Joni, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm excited too. I'm looking forward to learning more about Heart Smiles. So tell me, what made you get started in getting engaged with the youth?
So I tell people all the time that I really kind of landed here by accident. It was not my doing at all. I was a poor person who grew up in West Baltimore, and I hated my life. I hated everything about it. And I was one of those people who I took all of the negative feelings that I was feeling, and I just kind of suppressed those feelings. So because my family was addicted to drugs and alcohol and all that, when I looked at them, I didn't really see much for my life. And then when I would go to school and teachers would tell me that I was dumb and that I was stupid, I would look back at my family and I'm like, you know what? I guess they right. Like, it's really nothing for me. And even though I couldn't really visualize another side of life, I knew somewhere in my mind and in my heart that there had to be something different, and this just couldn't be all that there was to the world.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I didn't have anybody telling me that school was the way out of poverty, so unfortunately I stopped going to school in the 9th grade. But that also led me to my job at McDonald's, which was like the first place that I felt seen. And I was recognized for my leadership ability, and the owner and the managers, they recognized really, really quickly that even though I couldn't like read all the manuals and stuff, I was a visual learner. So if you showed me how to do something, I was really, really good at doing that thing, and I could be great at it, and I could help other people be great at it. So fast forward a few years, my 18th birthday, while my counterparts are graduating high school and going off to do their things, I was getting the keys to my first store, moving my way up in management ranks. And that was like my first taste of, okay, there may be a little bit more, but I was still poor. I was still stuck in Baltimore, and even spending a few years in that space, I still didn't feel adequate or like I was doing enough.
Wow.
So I applied for a job that I did not qualify for at Comcast.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
Shout out Comcast. My resume got through, and reluctantly I was given an interview. And I got that opportunity, and it was like McDonald's all over again. But now this time I was able to climb the real corporate ladder. So now I've worked my way up. I'm almost 15 years into my beautiful career. I worked my way up. I'm making 6 figures. I'm doing all the great things that, you know, I knew I was capable of doing. I had my passport. I'm helping with all these different things. I'm seeing different parts of the world. I gave my middle finger to Baltimore. Baltimore never treated me good. I completely turned my back, and I was only focused on me and my family. And then Baltimore City Police killed Freddie Gray in the same zip code that raised me. And that right there made my life make sense. I heard my calling from God loud and clear, that this is why your route towards success was so untraditional, so that you could be a living, breathing witness to young people who had those same feelings of being hopelessness and feeling like their life didn't matter, and maybe looking at their family or their situation and not being able to see past that or think that there's more to that. Like, this is why I had this type of situation, so that I can tell them, like, it don't matter what family you come from, you can still be great. It doesn't matter who doesn't see your value or your purpose. You still have value and you still have purpose. And that, yeah, you know, school might not be for everybody,
right?
But everybody has value, everybody has purpose. And for me, because leadership was my saving grace, I'm like, if I could just teach one young person what I know about leadership and all that I've learned and pour back into them. And even though I wasn't an entrepreneur by business definition, I was a lifepreneur.
Right.
I owned whatever situation you put me in, and that's what made me so great. And I'm like, if I could help them hone these skills and understand what it means to be an entrepreneur, to be a lifepreneur, and to be a leader, then I would have done my job. And I did the stupidest thing ever, Kenzie.
What?
I retired myself from my 6-figure career.
Yeah.
Without barely even thinking about it. Mind you, I had no knowledge of nonprofit, no knowledge of youth, no knowledge of community.
But when God calls,
you got to pick up.
Yeah.
You got to pick up.
Yeah.
And I started right back where I was comfortable, and I walked the whole North Avenue, and I talked to every junkie and alcoholic I could find, and I said, look, it might be too late for you, but it's not too late for your kid. Send them to me, and I'm gonna make sure that they are better than you. And as harsh as that message was, it still resonated with them. And that's basically how it started. You saw them dragging their kids to this little community center that we were working out of in West Baltimore. And it started from young people having to be made and told to sit down, to them now beating me there. And the fire just started to go and run rampant amongst the young people, where they started telling each other, and they bringing their friends and they bringing their cousins, and they talking about it in schools and talking about it in their different spaces. And I was lucky enough to just start making different connections within Baltimore City schools, our partners at Johns Hopkins, our partners at University of Maryland. Robin Haynes, who is now our CFO, she started officially doing like some of the entrepreneurship sessions. And we just started to grow from there. And it was literally because young people were excited about this.
Of course.
And they just started to bring all these other people with them.
Wow. Joni, what a powerful, powerful story. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm like holding back a tear or two, because you took me on a whole journey with that story. And I just think it's so impactful to share that these lives matter.
Yes.
These youth matter.
Yes.
They matter for the city. And just look at you as a Baltimore youth now and looking at your impact and the work you're doing, because those young kids are going to be adults.
Yes.
So it's time to pour into them now.
Yes.
100%.
As creatives, what better way to write, produce, and create great content than over a good cup of coffee? Whether it's the slow, sipping calm before you start the day, or the fuel you need to crank up your creative juices, Root Branch Pressed Coffee provides just the kick you need to bring forth your creative vision. Root Branch Pressed Coffee, for creators and innovators.
I love what you said about they may not want to go to college, they may not want to be this, they want to be that, but they will be a lifepreneur.
Yes.
I love that word. So talk to me a little bit about how to help shape and adapt when working with youth, because it really is not cookie cutter, and they're all personalities and all different.
I know.
Yes.
I know. And you got to be ready for it.
Right.
One thing that we talk about a lot in Heart Smiles is just being able to have this safe space where young people can crash and burn.
Right.
And have us as guardrails.
Right. Right.
And, you know, not trying to be in the driver's seat but really being in the back seat. And if they invite you to the passenger seat, then okay. But really asking that first question, hey, what do you want to do? I don't want to push what my version of success is onto you, because I know what Miss Joni's version of success is, but what is your version of success? And then helping to put them right at the intersection of access and opportunity, so that whatever their version of success is, they can realize that. And it looks different for every young person that you deal with. So you really, really, really have to, number one, let go of your adultism.
Right.
Because they're not going to do it the way that we would do it, and we have to be okay with that.
And that's a good thing.
That's a great thing.
Right.
And get ready to cringe a lot. I cringe every single day of my life, because when I'm looking, I'm like, I wouldn't have said it that way. I wouldn't have did it. But then I got to check myself and like, but you know what? It's not you and it's not your life, and you got to be okay allowing them to make their own mistakes, to learn their own lessons on their own time, and still just being able to be there, because they come back. They always do. Mm-hmm. And when life has taught them the lesson, now they're ready to really learn some wisdom, and now the conversation can be different, because I'm never going to, try to just tell you, but you know what? When you know, and when you found out, and when you're really ready, then, let's go ahead and have some serious conversations, but all day we're going to have the space for you to learn and grow.
And I think that's what I'm hearing a lot as we're having these conversations about youth enterprise in general, is that these leaders of organizations are meant literally, like you said, just to guide. Because that creative genius comes from the child. That comes from the student. That comes from the teenager, the young adult, the adolescent. That comes from them. At any age range, there's always going to be some creative aspect that they're going to outdo us on. So, wow, I think that's a beautiful message, and it's so important to hear coming from you. So can you tell me a little bit about some of the incentives you have going on, or initiatives, I should say, and also, where did we come up with the name Heart Smile?
Yes. So the name Heart Smiles came because when I was thinking about the impact, the end result when I was doing this thing. And I'm like, well, what do I want to happen? And I was like, well, I want their heart to smile. When they work with us and when they engage with us, I literally want their heart to smile. So that's kind of where the name came from. In terms of incentives, it's so much I could talk about, but let me tie that into what our strongest secret sauce is, because that's the biggest incentive. The biggest incentive is being a part of this model that we've built, where it's peer-to-peer, near-peer mentorship. So I told you when we first started, it was just me, and shout out to our CFO, Ms. Robin. She was there, boots on the ground. We teaching, we doing all these things in schools, community centers, and all that. I can't even tell you now the last time that I've been in one of the schools. I don't teach any sessions. Why? Because now we are able to employ our heartbeats. So after they've learned the lessons and they understand and they got some skills, we take that contract money and we put it in their pocket. They get paid to do the lesson planning. They get paid to do the facilitation. They get paid to do the mentoring. So now immediately a young person who's just being introduced to Heart Smiles, they can see someone around their same age in a position of leadership, in a position of authority, and getting paid, building their own economic self-sufficiency at a young age.
Which is important.
So, and that right there allows young people now to say, oh, I ain't gotta be in McDonald's or Burger King. I can get paid to use my mind. I can get paid to use my talent. And not only am I able to get paid and earn a living for myself, I can give back to my community and I can help other young people, because young people know what's going on in this city and they don't like it. And it's a lot of them who want to be able to change the narrative, and they understand that changing that narrative starts with them being able to hold each other accountable as youth. And them being able to build those relationships amongst themselves. That's way more powerful than any relationship with Miss Joni and a young person.
But I think that's why having you as the owner is so important too, because what we're really talking about is being able to relate. Yes. Being able to relate, and like we said, it's not cookie cutter, but at least you can see something in you within those kids, within the students. So what are some of the programs that Heart Smiles offers? I heard that you said some of the heartbeats are within the school. So tell me a little bit about what that looks like.
Yes. So one that I'm really excited about is our teacher trade.
Okay.
And basically that is an umbrella where whatever trade skill you want to learn, we partner with a master in that industry. And it's an earn while you learn situation. So we're going to pay you a small stipend while you are learning the skill. And then after you've learned the skill, we're going to give you opportunity to actually work somewhere to utilize that skill. So we're talking everything from culinary to construction to barbering, and everything has a peer mentor aspect to it. So even though we have the adult mentors who are the experts teaching the class, right alongside them, we got a heartbeat that's helping to make the messages relatable and helping to maintain the culture of the sessions. So we do that along with entrepreneurship sessions. So any young person that's interested in learning how to start their own businesses, they can learn that. And leadership, which is my personal favorite, because it's like, it don't matter where you go in life, leadership is going to help you be that much better in whatever space you find yourself in. And of course, the little leaders, I can't forget about them.
I agree.
So even as early as 3rd grade, you can earn a small stipend. It's only $15. We working our way up.
That's okay.
But even as a 3rd grader, you can earn your stipend of $15 by learning your leadership lesson and talking about how you are demonstrating leadership in your school, in your community, at home, and all that. And early, it incentivizes that positive behavior. And for us, they heartbeats in training.
Yes, I love to hear it. Well, Joni, it has been a pleasure. Can you let the people at home know how can they find you? How can they support?
Yes, absolutely. And this is so important, y'all, because this work is not done alone, and it truly takes a village. And we are only able to survive because generous people decide that they're going to give us $1 a month. Yep. That's what I said.
Wow.
$1 a month is what it takes for us to be able to put a young person to work and provide them with opportunity. So www.heartsmilesmd.com. Hit that donate, click on that reoccurring, and give us that $1, and then turn around and tell all your friends who care about Baltimore's youth to give us that $1 too. And of course, follow our journey on Instagram at HeartSmilesMD.
Oh my goodness. It has been such a pleasure. I have been truly impacted by your story. Your story has blessed me. It's made me just excited for life. It really is such a zestful story. You know, it brings so much flavor into the city of Baltimore.
And shout out to Root Branch Marketplace and Vanier, because this is amazing. I mean, even just the idea that you guys are actively reaching out to grassroots folks like me, because we're so busy doing the work in the mission, boots on the ground, day to day. We don't always get to have opportunities like this to talk about our work or to highlight the things that we're doing. So I'm so thankful that you called me and that Vanier offered this as an opportunity, because this just doesn't happen. And for her to be living Black history, like, this whole thing needs to be celebrated. And I hope that everybody that's watching, that you find different ways to support this and to share this, because people are so quick to talk about all the negative stuff that's happening in Baltimore. But here's something super positive happening right now that we all should be rallying around and trying to lift up.
Speak on it. We are in awe of it every day. So just hearing it come from you is so important. Thank you again, Joni, for joining us. And y'all, please stay tuned for another segment on the Root Branch Marketplace.
Yes.
Wow, what a show, what a show. Guys, I truly hope that you enjoyed today's episode. This is what Marketplace is all about: creating space and opportunity for small businesses of different backgrounds, of different ages, to have space and exposure to grow. So I encourage you to continue to shop local and shop small. And as always, we thank you for tuning in and supporting the Root Branch Marketplace. Until next time, bye.